Hi there, and welcome to Live at Gilmore Guitars. I'm David Gilmore, and this is the Gilmore Guitar Shop, podcast number 55. He's a local boy who has been all across this wide, vast country several times in the last 12, 13, 14 months. His name is Charlie Jacobson, and this is Live at Gilmore Guitars.
O'clock in the morning, before my baby comes to rise, I can see the sun coming. It's burning my eyes. Before she wakes up, I'll fix the coffee, 'cause I know what she takes. A little spoonful of honey, you know I got way more time. Way more time than money to spend, it's true. Yeah, and if you stick with me, baby, I'm gonna spend it all on you. All on you. I wanna keep you warm, your comfort to you, and if you work with me, baby, I'm gonna work with you. Just get it started, I'll fix the rest. When we wake up in the morning, I'll fix your breakfast. You know I got way more time. Way more time than money to spend, it's true. Yeah, and if you stick with me, baby, I'm gonna spend it all on you. All on you, baby.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 55. Charlie Jacobson in the house.
Thank you very much, Gilmore.
Currently of no fixed address.
Currently, yeah.
You're originally from Red Deer, so you're a local guy.
That's right.
But you could quite possibly be one of the hardest working dudes in the music industry right now.
Well, that's kind of you to say, Gilmore. Yeah, I picked up a gig here in Red Deer tomorrow. For those listeners out there, I'll be playing at Rib Fest at noon at Rotary Park. And then I'm at the Edmonton Blues Festival this weekend.
Okay, nice. So you've got a brand new record that you just recorded.
Yeah.
It's called Travelin'.
Yeah.
And it's quite an apt title for the record because you've been across the entire country several times in the last 10, 12 months.
Yeah, it's a back and forth trip, mostly by train and automobile, sometimes by planes and buses. But yeah, Travelin's a collection of traveling songs that I've written on the road.
And you recorded it in Halifax.
Yeah, that's right.
Why did you decide to do that?
Well, I ended up in Halifax in a snowstorm, and I filled in for Garrett Mason at Bearley's House of Blues.
Okay.
And I met Shrimp Daddy Reed, who had just acquired a recording studio just outside of Halifax. And so he made a deal with me, and he figured if I helped him make some records, then I could make my record there. So
I love the barter system.
yeah, so that's how that came about. And then the Shrimp Daddy Reed record that I produced is coming out in September as well.
So you actually produced that record, and I know that you recorded and did pretty much all the production on the Traveling record.
Yeah, I did everything on that entire record. Nobody touched it but me.
Okay.
So I recorded all the instruments and vocals and mixed and mastered it and everything.
And how was that experience?
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How long did it take you?
I did all the tracking in 2 nights, from midnight to 8 a.m.
That's crazy.
And then I did the mixing the next couple of days. And then I mastered it in my studio here in Red Deer,
Okay.
downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, at the Chop Bin studio.
Nice.
And that's where I did my first record with the one-man band.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get another song in.
Sure.
It's Charlie Jacobson live at Gilmore Guitars. This is podcast number 55.
Here's another track off my Traveling record. It's a warning to all the kids hanging out on the train bridge. Look out for the train, look, listen, live. Don't get caught with your earphones in, 'cause you won't hear the whistle, the clickety-clack. You're gonna be railroad kill, ain't coming back. Well, you think that it's fun to hang out with your friends on the train bridge. Have a few smokes and beers and make a sandwich. But the feelings are real when the locomotive's got your number. Caught in the middle of the bridge without any shoulder. On the train bridge, little Johnny, 12 years old, loved the blues and rock and roll. Went down and walking on the tracks. That freight train crept up his back. Well, you think that it's fun to hang out with your friends on the train bridge. Have a few smokes and beers and make a sandwich. But the feelings are real when the locomotive's got your number. Caught in the middle of the bridge without any shoulder. On the train bridge, y'all better run. I hear the train whistle blowing. I hear that clickety-clack. Trains rolling down the track. Don't get caught on the train bridge. On the train bridge. On the train bridge. On the train bridge. On the train bridge.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 55 with Charlie Jacobson, live on the train bridge. You probably did some partying out on that train bridge when you were a
Well,
kid.
that's right. That's how I know. Yeah. It's one of my favorite places to hang out is on the train bridge.
Were the trains actually still running back then?
Oh,
on that
absolutely.
bridge? Because they stopped,
Yeah.
by the time I moved to town, they had stopped using that bridge.
Oh, you mean the train bridge in Red Deer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's been a walking bridge
Yeah.
since I've been around.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
when-
which train bridge are we talking about?
Oh,
here?
any of them, all I can find. This one I rode up on the train bridge in Pooskupi, BC,
Oh, okay.
just south of Dawson Creek.
Nice.
Yeah, and seems like that's pretty much the only fun thing to do in Pooskupi.
I think there's small towns all across this great country where you could say that exact same thing.
Well, exactly. So, although it's fun, you got to be careful out there on the train bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been doing a ton of side gigs as well as being you know, the one-man band, the Charlie Jacobson band, and all that sort of stuff. And you've kind of been rubbing shoulders with some pretty cool cats like Kenny Blues Boss Wayne, Russell Jackson, Sherman Doucette, all these kinds of guys. So how did that all start? Because you're a pretty young guy to be hanging out with guys like that.
Right. I just started showing up for gigs.
Yeah.
So it started out at the Commercial Hotel playing with Russell Jackson. I was taking guitar lessons from his guitar player at the time. And so I showed up at the Commercial to sit in with the band and ended up sitting in with them all week. And then the next weekend they played the Blues Can in Calgary. So I ripped down there with my amp and guitar. And the guitar player, rhythm guitar player's amp blew up on the gig. So I ended up having my amp, so I threw my amp up on stage, and then Russell had me sit in on the gig, and this guitar player had a bit of a drinking problem. And he'd come up from Texas. So the next time Russell came back to Alberta, he hired me to play guitar.
Okay. And that's been a relationship that's been going on a few years
Maybe
now.
5 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to get old, Gilmore.
Yeah,
But yeah, I was 20 when I think I was 19 or 20 when I started playing with Russell. And he introduced me to Kenny Blues Boss Wayne.
Right.
And Donald Ray Johnson. And then I met Sherman Doucette on stage at the Caslo Jazz Festival.
Okay.
And we've been working together for 2 years now.
Okay. And you've played on records for these guys too, right?
Yeah, I played on Kenny Blues Boss Wayne's last record, Jumpin' and Boppin' for Joy.
And that actually was a pretty successful record on blues charts, both Canada and the U.S., right?
Yeah, it had really good airplay, and he's been touring that record constantly ever since.
Okay.
I think it was, it was number one on the Stingray Blues on the satellite radio.
Right.
For a couple of months.
Okay.
And yeah, I played live on that whole record alongside Duke Robillard.
Okay.
Yeah, he did overdubs on some of the tracks.
There's some pretty thin air up there, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a good experience. Yeah.
All right. So the new record, Travelin', you're currently just working your way back and forth across Canada and just working that record. How is it going so far?
Well, it's going great. Currently, I'm sold out of CDs, as I told you.
That's a great problem to have.
Yeah. So I need some more of those. And I'm still promoting my last record, Alberta Flood. That's got Russell Jackson on bass, David Vest on piano, Donald Ray Johnson's on drums, and it's got Charlie Ackworth on there too.
And you
so
recorded that here in Alberta, that record?
Yeah, I did that one just outside of Sherwood Park,
right,
at Dan Lynn Studios.
Okay. Let's get another song in, Charlie.
Sure.
All right, it's live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 55. This is Charlie Jacobson.
Here's a song I wrote before getting on the midnight train out of Edmonton to Toronto, off the Travelin' record. You sleep all day and you sleep all night, always give me trouble, never treat me right. Take all of my money and laugh at me cry. Take all that you need and leave me unsatisfied, baby. My train's coming tonight. Look out, baby. Mine is coming tonight. Gonna pack up, baby. Ain't no use in a fight, no. It's time for me to go. I think you ought to know. Can't you hear it blow? Train whistles blowing tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight. It's been so long, I realize I can hear in your voice, baby. You can see in my eyes. Tried so hard to keep you, tried to hold the ties. Now it's time to leave you. No more lies. Look out, baby. My train's coming tonight. Look out, baby. Yours is coming tonight. I'm gonna pack up, baby. There ain't no use in a fight, no. It's time for me to go. I tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight. I'm gonna be catching that midnight train. I'll be going by midnight. You're gonna be asleep in bed. In the morning I'll be gone, baby. My train's coming tonight. My train's coming tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight. Train whistles blowing tonight.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 55. That's Charlie Jacobson, and trains seem to be a recurring theme.
Yeah, that's right.
And you, I've been kind of following you and kind of, stalking you on social media. You just did kind of a tour on a train. Now, what was that all about? Because you kept posting from various locations as you were traveling.
Yeah, I was performing as the artist on board CN Rail.
Okay.
So I went from Vancouver to Toronto, 4 nights, 3 shows a day in the pub cars.
Okay.
So they've got 3 classes on the train, and they each have their own pub cars. So you do a show for each class a day, and then I took the train from Toronto to Montreal, and then performed all the way from Montreal to Halifax in promotion of this traveling record. And,
Right.
Also working on new material and writing new songs.
So let's talk about the classes. Which class was the rowdiest?
Oh, economy class is the rowdiest for sure. Yeah, the party's in the economy car. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was always the last show of each day then?
No, actually, they changed the rules now. The economy car is not allowed to have performances after 8 p.m. because it gets way too rowdy. So they got to have like the noon shows and stuff.
Oh, that's too bad.
And then they have first class gets the evening shows.
Oh.
Because they're pretty calm.
Yeah, I guess.
And last call is at 10 in the economy too.
Okay.
Yeah, they get cut off early.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So reading through your bio, and in there it says that a lot of the old blues guys that you're playing with, they like hanging with you because they like to feel young, but you like to hang with them because you're an old soul.
Right.
And there's a line in there that says you have a penchant for old suitcases and garment bags.
Yeah.
Now the suitcases I get because you use them in your one man show as a kick drum and stuff. But are you on the lookout for old garment bags that have moth holes in them and stuff?
You know what? To be honest, I think the writer that did that bio was maybe a little off the mark on the garment bags thing. But I do have a vintage hat box, and I do have a vintage suit bag that I use. So I guess it's true.
And vintage clothes and vintage hair.
Yeah, everything.
A vintage attitude towards the music.
Yeah, it's important.
That's very cool. So have you got a bunch of music written for another record? Because you're always working. You're always writing, right? So the traveling record you finished, earlier this spring?
Yeah, I released it in April.
Okay, so
I recorded most of it in the winter, in February and March. And I put it out in April. And I'm working on new material. A lot of this new stuff is going to be some history of Alberta.
Okay.
Still traveling themed, but not about myself traveling. It's going to be more stories of places and a lot of Albertan stories.
Are you going to record it here in Alberta as well then?
Yeah, I will be, I believe. Yeah, I'll be doing it.
Have you made some plans on where and with who, or is producing something that you want to keep doing?
Well, I like producing, but I would prefer not to produce my own records. And I'll be going down to Calgary likely for this next one.
Okay.
In January.
All right.
And it'll be set to come out maybe February or March next year.
Okay.
Yeah, just in time for the new season.
The new traveling season.
Yeah, new tour next spring. I'm going to take it easy this winter, I hope, and get the record done and get off the icy roads for a while.
Yeah. So the no fixed address will soon become fixed?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love what you do. And you actually do play a Gilmore guitar. You've had a Gilmore guitar for about 4 or 5 years.
Absolutely.
You've been across the country several times with that guitar. That's cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that guitar was featured on this Alberta Flood record, and I believe also the Kenny Wayne record.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful guitar. And it's done me really well on the road.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's get one more song in here.
Sure.
This is podcast number 55 with Charlie Jacobson.
You know how to get going when you're dancing on the floor. Baby, I can hear you flowing as you're walking in the door. But the way you got your body rocking, you got me going too. Yeah, I've got it bad for you. I've got it bad for you. I've got it bad for you. Lovely lady longing with the sweetest, softest smile. Baby, I can hear you calling, taking me for the mile. But the way you got your body rolling, you got me going too. Yeah, I've got it bad for you. I've got it bad for you. I've got it bad for you. I got it bad for you, baby. I got it bad for you. I've 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 got it bad for you.
Live at Gilmore Guitars, podcast number 55, Charlie Jacobson. Nicely done, young fella.
Thank you very much, David Gilmore.
Bad for you.